What's up, everybody? It's your favorite show, Get a Bucket. I'm your host, Trey, and as usual, hope you're all having a wonderful, wonderful day. Today, I'm going to talk about, basically, who the most relevant NBA organization, right? I know who's the most winningest organization. That's the Celtics. They have 18 NBA championships. My Lakers are at 16. Some of y'all might be wondering, why did I say 16 instead of 17? I don't count the 2020 bubble, that participation trophy. I almost attribute it the same way as I do the play-in tournament that we did. And the fact that we hung up banners for both is disgusting. But again, that's where I'm coming from, okay? But ladies and gentlemen, I get the title count, right? I do hear some gripes, though, of players back then and counting their stats and talking about their relevancy, right? So then let's do the same thing with the titles. They happened, they did. And I'm not saying I definitively do this, but let's not focus on how many titles we have. Let's do something different. Let's change the narrative just a little bit. Let's talk about who's more relevant. And I deem relevancy based on, how many titles have you won based on the decades? Like, have you won a title each decade? Are you relevant? If you win a title in every decade, I think that's pretty daggone good, because that's very tough to do. And in fact, no team in the NBA's history has won an NBA title in every single decade. Not a one. So if that's the case, then who's won the most decades? Well, there's 4 teams that have actually won 3 out of 8 decades played. Because again, the NBA was founded 1946. At least when it was merged, it was 1946, right? So the NBA that we know today and love today, 1946. That's when we're starting off until present. So if that's the case, ladies and gentlemen, like 4 teams out of the 30 that did it, out of the 30 that play, only have 3 decades where they've won an NBA title. That's crazy. You got the Spurs at number 4 with 3. You got the Warriors at number 3 with 4. That was kind of confusing for a second. You got the Celtics at number 2 with 5. And y'all guessed it. You got my Lakers at number 1 with 6. And again, this is out of 8 decades, ladies and gentlemen. So that means these teams have won a title that many times out of those 8 decades. We are more relevant than the Celtics or really any team in the NBA. Hell, if you combine numbers 3 and 4, we barely lose by 1. Like, that is insane to hear. If you take 5 through 8 and take 3 of those teams, because keep in mind, they have only won 2 decades. So that means 3 of those teams combined tie with the Lakers. We're talking about relevancy, ladies and gentlemen. Like, our relevancy has spanned over more decades than any other squad. So that's cute, ladies and gentlemen, that we want to talk about the Celtics winning championship. That's nice. Let's focus on the decades, though. And okay, cool, I hear you. You want to talk about, going forward, we can still win and catch up. That's cool. Y'all can. But the Celtics do have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Hell, even the Warriors got Steph, so maybe they can win the title this year, although we're talking about next decade. So let's focus on next decade. We got Luka. Some people believe that he's going to play into the next decade. I have question marks how long he'd play into the next decade, but sure, I'm sure he'll play. Like, let's give him that, right? Let's give him that. So you mean tell me we won't be competitive? Again, there's no Steph anymore, but maybe there's a world where he plays 5-6 more years. So maybe they win a title 2030, 2031, something like that. Who knows? Then they tie y'all. That's crazy. Or, let's say Wemby plays 2 decades and they win a title in 1 title in 20 years, or 2 titles in 20 years. That sounds doable. And keep in mind, too, they got De'Aaron Fox as well, Stephon Castle. They got some players. All I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, is the relevancy award could be moving up. But keep in mind, Lakers are bound to get stars. So, yeah, we have Luka now, but we're probably going to get somebody else later on. Hell, it might be possible that we get Wemby. Just saying. We might even be able to snag JT and or JB. Who knows? I don't know about Ja personally, but I can see something like that happening too. And that'd be entertainment, and that would be entertaining in the purple and gold. So for those scriptwriter fans who don't think John Lakers uniform might produce a championship, I'm just saying. Like, there's a couple of stars out there. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, the Lakers, we are the most relevant team. And I think that's more important than who has the most titles, because I've heard people have gripes about players back then and judging players back then. Players on the NBA 75 list get slighted because, oh, well, the game was so trash back then. Okay, so does that dilute the championships? And keep in mind, Celtics fans have told me the same thing about those players back then. So if that's the case, let's not be hypocrites, and let's dilute those championships then too. So maybe you might want to focus on the decades that you won a championship, because that's really what matters. It's cool to win multiple, but not everyone can win back-to-backs or multiples in a decade. How many teams have actually won three-peats? Come on, there's not that many. So again, let's focus on a championship won in the decade. And a lot of teams can't say they have. Hell, ain't there like 10 teams that have not literally won a championship? The Jazz, the Pelicans, the Suns, the Clippers, the T-Wolves, the Grizzlies, the Hornets, the Nets, the Magic, the Pacers. Let's focus on winning in the decade. And again, that puts the Lakers ahead. Y'all are close, though. Y'all are close. But I focus more so on the most relevant organization, because, again, that means we bring more business to the NBA. Because that means we're more marketable than y'all are on a consistent basis. And that has spanned over the NBA's entirety. That includes that little hot streak y'all had. Like I said, 18 titles. That's cute. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I want to hear from y'all. Do y'all agree with me? Should we start looking at championships now more so based on decades? Because it is going to start getting hard to win multiple championships. I can't hold y'all. So it would be nice to start judging organizations based on the decades and not the championships. Because you might get a hot streak and pair up some stars and then never do it again. Is that a better organization than another one who is consistently winning? Like, I was worried. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think the Spurs might have a knock, or might have, like, between 2000 and 2020. They were better than us. I could definitively say that, because they were more consistent. We had hotter streaks. We had hotter peaks. Or higher peaks. But, hey, they were consistently solid. So I would lean the Spurs in terms of organizations. So, again, decades. Let's focus on that. But again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that's all the time I have for you all. Thank you all for listening. Please like, subscribe, comment, tell anyone about the show. My name is Trey. I'm the host of Get a Bucket. Hope you all are having a good one. Take care.